evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Triple Chalice Tarot. I am your host, Taruk Vashal, and I am accompanied by my lovely co-host, the magical sorceress herself, Aluna Tarot.
Are you so you really gonna act up on this one too? Hi everyone, how are you guys?
Yes. So how have you been, Miss Aluna? You've been gone for a minute, but you're back. You're back for the jump off.
Yes, I am for the 2017, and I feel lovely. I'm ready for this show. I'm ready for season 3 here on Triple Chalice Tarot. We have some good show content ready for you guys, and thank you for sticking with us, and I hope that you guys are stepping into this new year feeling right, everything on point, and I'm ready for this show.
Yes.
I'm ready for this show.
So for this show, we are going to be talking about, or more like breaking down, the truth about spell casting. Yes, the truth about spell work. You know, this is a very deep topic. It's very meaty, very full of just juice. So we're going to break everything down for you guys and just give you the basics and, you know, some little tips and, you know, secrets here and there that we have for you guys. So we'll get it started right now. So I want to talk about let's talk about the basics of spell work. Like, what is a spell? What is spell casting? Now, I personally see spell work or spell casting as you pushing your will, your intent, your desires into the universe, into the ether, okay, into the astral. You put your visualization out there. You force that out of yourself, okay, and it comes back to you into the third dimensional world in one form or the other. So it's you manifesting your desires, your dreams, the things that you want to accomplish, and bringing them forth into the physical world, okay? So, Aluna, what do you classify spell work? What is the definition of it for you?
I definitely like how you put that. I side with it 100%. There was once a terminology that I used, and I considered it path working, because what we do here in this life, and due to the limitations of physics and everything else, is we are constantly aligning ourselves through spell work as magicians and witches and practitioners. We're aligning ourselves to possibilities that otherwise would be intangible to us. So, for example, you want to get at a specific job that maybe right now it's not in your league, or you possibly have some competitors or something. That's a possibility that is out there, but it's quite intangible to you. So you go through with spell work, path working, and you align yourself to be in that highest possibility, the aligning with the trajectory, aligning with the path to get to that destination of where you want to be, which is acquiring that job. So it's like walking through multiple doors in time and aligning that, like having it manifest through your will to what you want to have happen. So that's how I kind of see it.
Yes. So now, the first steps when it comes to spell work, I feel, is your desire. That's the first thing. It's what is it that you want? What are you passionate about? You know, and you have to have a conviction for it. So that's the first step, in my opinion. You have to
I love that word.
Yeah, you have to have a wish, a desire, a want, a need, okay? And you have to find a way to bring that forth into the world. So how do you do that? How? A lot of times, you know, newbies, I don't want to say new witches, but new neophytes, new dabblers who come into the craft, and they want things that they want to manifest. They want to bring things forth, but they don't know how. Usually the first thing that they go is to a book. They go to Barnes & Nobles. They go to some other bookstores, and they find a book on witchcraft, a book on spells, a book on magic, to kind of guide them and tell them what to do. You know, you go through the book, you look through the spells, you try to find that one spell that's just the right one that you need to bring that forth. You know, so you buy the book, you go home, and you know you're you read the instructions, you read the first chapters, then you get to like chapter 4 or 5 when it's spells, oh my God, we're here. And, you probably get on the floor and you're over here holding this book in your hand. And you're saying the words, but what is really going on there? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. What is really happening when you are looking down in this book and you're reading these words, going with the motions? You know what's happening? Absolutely nothing is happening, okay? Because you're not in the right states of mind and the altered states of consciousness that you need to be in order to perform these spells, this magic. And I feel like that's the mistake a lot of newbies make. You go right to these books. You go right into the instructions of A, B, and C when I feel like that's not the right path that you should go. But I know a lot of times, new people don't really have any guidance from anybody.
Well, okay. So what I wanted to touch on the question that you answered yourself about that was aligning with conviction and meeting that conviction. Another thing that's really important for like the groundwork to even know and realize that magic is possible and real is breaking that a lot of times that right brain bondage that so many of us have when we're first starting off. That magic is bad, that magic is demonic, that magic is evil, that magic is going to summon you to hell, that your spell work isn't going to work, that you're just playing around. I can't tell you how many times, just for per research, I've been looking online and, I'll come across blogs and stuff where you have these people kind of writing a bit of a mockery of, for example, I read a story about someone who was trying to do a spell, okay? And basically they purchased the kit online, just hopscotch, purchased the kit online. The kit came in the mail. And as they were trying to perform the spell, it's kind of like they were mocking themselves. They were mocking the experience. They were mocking the fact that they were even in this and had gone through spending their money to purchase this kit. And then by the end of it, nothing happened. So it's like, okay, you were self-sabotaging your magical practice before you even got there. So one of the first things you're going to have to break away from is that right brain imprisonment that many people have, because magic is very taboo. It's a subject that, yes, there's a lot of theories, there's a lot of books, and nowadays it's a lot more accepted to kind of put yourself out there on Instagram and be like, I'm an Instagram witch, okay? Check out our Instagram Witches topic show, also on Triple Chalice Tarot. But really, when you get into doing the craft and the motions of doing the spell work and the motions of, like Taruk was saying, getting into that trance state, you have all these thought forms that are in your mind that are sabotaging you by telling you that this is stupid, this is not enough, you're not enough, what you want for is not going to happen. So you have to first train yourself and discipline your mind to be in the correct trance state to where you're omnipotent against those thought forms. And when they do, because nowadays, this is just my per se, when I walk into the room to perform a ritual, like, I'm not myself, okay? I am not myself. I am this bitch that is like, this shit is going to get motherfucking done and any bitch standing in my way can see me kind of thing. And I'm not naturally like that. But you have to go into your spell work with that attitude, literally, that nothing is going to stop you, not even your own self. When the thought forms, they don't even arise anymore in me, but when there was a point of me really transitioning and becoming more at home in ritual work, when they would come, I would spend half my time in the ritual trance with candles lit, everything like that, fighting off these thought forms. Okay, I can do this. Okay, this is going to work. Okay, this is not silly. You know what I'm saying? So I think that is major, major, major important. Before you even get to the meditation part, you are going to have to really get your confidence up and really get your conviction up to where when you walk in that room, okay, and you sit yourself down in your circle or in your place or your table, wherever you're working, that it is nothing standing in your way, nothing, not even yourself. So that is kind of what I wanted to touch on with, like, the foundation for me is walking into that with an indomitable will. an indomitable will. So what do you think about that, Taruk?
I definitely agree, and I want to touch up on the part where you were speaking about the confidence. And, when you're a new person, you're new, you probably are going to practice or do your first spell or whatever, or your second or your third. You don't really have any confidence because you're just starting. It's something you're just, I remember when I was a kid and I would just, read a book and say the things, and, I didn't know about no trance states. I didn't know about any of those things. The books don't really explain the depths of the importance of getting into altered states when you're casting spell work. The books just kind of tell you to visualize, and, it's not really explained like that. So I feel that it comes through practice, of course. It comes through practice and studying, but ultimately practice and seeing what works. And that's the only way that you can build it up. But definitely for people out there who are going to listen to this show, I'm telling you, a book, reading the script, that is not magic. Reading from a book, just like you have the candles, you have the circle, you have the book in your hand, and you're just reading, Omnipotus, Magnus, Pluritus, you're reading Harry Potter language, and you're not really doing anything, you're just reading from a book. So it's realizing that you have the magic within yourself. You have to go deep within yourself, okay, and sit there and learn some breathing techniques and breathe in, inhale the universe inside of yourself, inhale the power of the moon, inhale the stars, inhale the trees, and visualize, you have to kind of get into those breathing techniques and that type of meditation, and feeling that and knowing that this is real, okay? You have to.
It's knowing.
Yeah, it's knowing and understanding the what is the word? Understanding the concept behind things, why you're doing it. Like when I inhale, I'm breathing in the universe, and the universe is creation. The stars. You have to kind of get into the idea of that. It's not doing it blindly. It's kind of like knowing why you're doing what you're doing and the power behind it. And because I'm focused on it, that it's real. That
yes.
I feel like is important for any spell to work. It's like you said, when you walk into the magic, or you walk into the ritual, you're somebody else, and when you're inhaling that energy from the universe, see, because what I do when I inhale, I breathe in either the moon, I either breathe in the universe, and when I exhale, I take it down my body, you know what I'm saying? And then I do that back and forth, and I fill myself up with that until I'm like full. I feel like I'm just full, just radiating, and then that's when I'm ready. And I'm in that altered state, and it feels like I'm somewhere else. It feels like I'm in between worlds. It feels like I'm in between, and my vision is I see hypnagogic visions, which is like you can kind of see colors crashing in your vision, just moving in and out, just flowing in and out, and things look different, and just slow, and just kind of get into that feeling and know why you're feeling this, what it means. You have to kind of get into that and get into the objects. If you have candles, if you have objects, what does that black candle mean? What is the meaning behind it? What is the meaning behind the fire that's being lit? What's the meaning behind the pentagram that you have? What's the meaning behind the altar itself? What is the meaning behind the crystal and why it's there and the properties? You know what I'm saying? So you just can't blindly like, okay, I want to buy some crystals, bam, here's my amethyst, and kind of like that, and just kind of, no, you kind of have to get into everything that you're doing. It's kind of like that omnipotent, omnipresent type. So what do you think, Aluna? Like, what do you see when it comes to this?
I agree with you wholeheartedly, 100% in that, and I also wanted to touch on it's so important to remove that fear, because I remember when I first started getting into magic, how less I was in the ritual work, because I was so looking forward to something to jump out and grab me. I was looking for the shadows along the wall. You need to be at home in place with those things. You need to be, and when the spirits come through, because let me tell you something. I know for maybe some people just getting into this, if you're listening to our show, you've never done magic before, but we communicate with spirits, okay? And by by medical sort of left brain terminology, that would be listed as hearing voices, schizophrenia, having multiple personality disorders. I mean, the diagnostics go on and on. But you know what? That is limitation. That is limiting, and that is imposing barriers on yourself when you walk into magic or you walk into spirituality trying to bring all these scientific need-to-knows and needing of facts, okay? No, when you're communicating with spirits, when you're summoning angels, when you're summoning demons, whatever, no, they might not appear in the puff of the smoke that you lit your incense in. They might not appear sulking along the shadows of the walls. You might not see that orb out of the left of your eye as you're communicating with them. But you have to trust that they are there. You have to trust that you yourself are in that space. And it's this trusting. Magic only works through trusting and having faith. Okay, as they say, faith not tested is nothing. Okay, so one thing that I think is, when you walk into this is you're going to have to leave a lot of yourself behind. You're going to have to leave a lot of yourself behind, that self that needs constantly answers, that needs constantly facts, that needs results. Okay. And another thing I want to talk about too is, let's talk about the techniques. And then later on, I wanted to discuss how sometimes with new witches or people just coming to the craft for the first time, why their magic doesn't work and self-sabotaging techniques. But for now, let's go into the techniques. So I also believe meditation is very important. Breathing, channeling, visualizing, and also energy work, okay? Because a lot of times you're going to be there consecrating items with either your energetic imprint or blood, your own blood, okay? And you can't be scared to prick your finger, or make offerings or consecrate a crystal or talisman or whatever you need done. I think a lot of people have become so accustomed to the more stuff I have, the right oils, the right seeds, the right powders, the right brews, that's going to make the spell come through. And I mean, you will be surprised how far one black candle, okay, just one little skinny black candle will go for you in trying to unlock doors and access alternate dimensions and worlds and possibilities and path work, okay? So that is definitely what I see with carrying on with what you were talking about, Turu. So, yes.
Yeah, and I wanted to touch up on the self-sabotage and the thought form, because that is something that does happen a lot, and that is your own subconscious that is seeing, because a lot of times we find it hard to believe that we're doing what we're doing. We find, that part of our brain is like, this isn't real, this it's not going to work. Like, what are you doing, And a lot of times when you are really going in and you're making breakthroughs as you're performing, as you're casting, that part will come and try to, get you out of it and question yourself and tell you and just kind of show you some type of scary image or some sort of, just telling you it's not going to work or something just negative that kind of throws you off and has you question the ritual right then and there. That is your subconscious purposefully coming through because you are hitting next levels. It's a self-defense mechanism that's appearing. So you have to clock it. You have to recognize it and see it right then and there and know this is my subconscious. It's doing this because I am, leveling up, because this spell or this ritual is coming through and I'm, it's manifesting, I'm in the right trance state and, your subconscious it kind of gets scared that, oh my God, you're doing it. It's working. You know what I'm saying? Like you're getting in and it just has to throw you off on purpose. But you have to realize it's doing that because you are doing a good job right now. You know what I'm saying? So you have to kind of get back and push that to the side and be like, you know what, I acknowledge you, but I'm doing work right now. And continue. You can't stop and like, okay, well, the spell's over now. Like, fuck it. No, you have to take a breather, remember who and what you are, remember, what you're doing, and continue. And sometimes there has to be a battle. Sometimes you have to fight. Sometimes it is. You're gonna have to. Sometimes you have to stay there in limbo for like 10 minutes and just kind of go back and forth with it. You know, like, but you have to do it. Do it. Don't give up. You have to. That right there is a magical like battle. That's a magical battle. That's
no, you
fight.
really. I'm telling you, per our words, you will experience that. You will have to fight against yourself, and it may try to scare you by presenting itself in a form of being a demon or a stray spirit, or it might come into your mind and try to attack you and psychically attack you, and you may really feel scared. You may really be like, you know what, I done stepped into some real dark shit. I need to get out. I need to change my way. I need to go to church. But don't stop there, because it is a defense mechanism. It is a blockade within your subconscious of a chain, okay, that is what they call them egregores, that have manifested in your subconscious, in your psyche, okay, as a I don't want to say conscious, but it's like intelligence that knows when you start to speak deeper than than what you normally are supposed to, it turns on. Okay, so every last one of us has gone through fights. I have like gotten up and literally, well, back in the day, I've gotten up literally walking back and forth, and I will look crazy to some people. I'm sure if someone was watching me, they would say, this bitch she's on something else. But going back and forth, walking back and forth in my room, will get this money spell right. I will get this positioning in my favor. I will turn this person towards my benefit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it will appear as it might appear as a moral indiscretion or morally challenging your decision to do this. It may appear as self-doubt. It may appear as fear. But you have to mentally fight. And if you have to walk around your room sounding crazy, talking to yourself like you will not hold me back, I don't see you, where you at, shake something. That's what I use. Mock it, as they say. A lot of times they say mock it. And I would say shake something. If you really hear, you know, God, whatever you want to materialize yourself at, shake something. Move something across the room. Let me see something. Shut me down. Okay? Do whatever you have to do to usurp your position of power, because that is your birthright. That is all of our birthright to come into this world and tap into those latent powers, those subtle energies, and have them move. They are waiting. They are waiting to be tapped into. So don't self-sabotage yourself. Also, another self-sabotaging technique, okay, that's really important after the spell work is complete, is to not think about and dwell on the spell. Okay, and that's very, very hard. That's hard, I think, even for adepts. Probably the masters and the experts are probably much better at that, but they still probably go through the motions, especially if it's something that you feel so emotionally strongly about or emotionally tied to. Maybe you need this money spell to come through because you're getting close to the end of the month and you have to pay rent. You know, so you're looking for you want it like fast. And there's a pro and a con of working emotionally traumatic spells or you know, working spells when you're in that real kind of almost trauma state. Okay, the pro is that, yes, you will go in there with a sense of conviction. You will go in there with a sense of urgency. You will go in there like, I need this now kind of thing. But in the same breath, the con is once the spell is done or once you completed it, you'll be there kind of micromanaging the universe's process, okay? And the universe is like, she gets billions upon trillions of orders a day on top of sending out her own will if she so manifested. So, like, literally you might not see any results or any inkling that your spell was put in or is working for like a week, okay? Sometimes 2 weeks. But you have to, and if you see longer, they do sometimes say, oh, do 3 days, 2 weeks, and then if you don't see anything in 3 months or a month or so, for a really extreme situation, then maybe you need to readdress and rework. But a lot of that is going to have to do with you being able to let that spell go and work itself out and not worry about, oh, well, do I need to be over here? Or when is the money going to come in the mail? Is it going to come from my family members? Who's going to lend me the money? Like, you cannot be on that. You have to let it go, because that's a huge part of the faith and the confidence in your work, and you're trusting in the universe, and you're trusting in magic. Okay, there's a relationship of trust that is absolutely necessary for spells to work. And part of that trust is surrendering and saying, okay, like, it may be hard, especially if you are in that dire situation and you need results now. Okay. Now, I'm not saying, wait till the last of the month, and then the next day you got to pay rent to do a spell, because you're really chancing the impossible. But if you give yourself time enough, 2 weeks, a month, then yeah, you're going to have to get back into the motion of getting into your regular life, forgetting that the spell had even taken place, and allowing the universe to work itself out. So what do you think about that, Taruk?
I definitely agree with you on that. I feel like that was something I struggled with in the beginning, was letting go and not thinking of the spell and kind of, questioning it. And it's like, oh my God, is it going to work? Like, no, it's, doing that. But eventually, as you see progress, as you see the spells manifesting, as you see it happening, you kind of start building that confidence and trusting it. And also, I suggest that people who have a hard time with letting go of the thoughts of the results of the spell, like, make yourself busy. Think of the next spell that you want to do. You did one spell, now focus on another one. Yeah, it's about practice. So I suggest do spells often. Like, you want something, do a spell, and once you do that spell, start focusing on the next one. So you have your mind on this spell, let that one, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I do now. A lot of times I have maybe 2 or 3 spells that in my head I want to do. So I do one, I'm already focused on the next one after I do it, okay? And I'm putting my focus on that, and I completely forget about the spell that I did, and that's just one type of option. Like, now I'm to the point that I'm good at, like, forgetting, okay? Like, it will be like a memory, because, see, I get into trance states, okay? So because I get into trance states, the whole process is like a dream. I barely even remember it. So it's like in the back of my head. See, like, if you're in it, if you're not in the trance and you're kind of like awake and just doing everything, you're gonna remember the whole thing. I mean, but if you're in those trances, it's gonna be like a dream, because you're in that altered in between state. It's like kind of your brain waves are slowing down, so you are in that altered state of consciousness. And well, let me see. I think I did talk about everything with that. And I also want to mention the fear aspect of self-sabotage is, and I think you did kind of touch up on this, is the fear of the spirits, and the fear of the unknown, and the fear of the darkness, and the fear of, what could happen. And, I was afraid for a while. I had to kind of jump into the darkness and sit in it and kind of realize, like, nothing is going to jump at me. Nothing is going to hurt me. Like, why am I afraid of the same spirits that I'm calling? Why do I have this fear of something being thrown across the room? Why do I have a fear of, like, I hear a bang or a knock and I'm jumping? Like, no, like, this is the world that I have been kind of like led to by the universe since birth. Like, this is me. I have been into this since I was a child. Like, why, and I have never been hurt by anything. So why am I still afraid? Why am I afraid now? Like, why am I afraid of the darkness? Why am I afraid of feeling an entity touching my shoulder? Why am I afraid of something possibly, moving? Why am I afraid of possibly seeing a spirit, and feeling them? You feel the presence, and your heart is like palpitating and racing, and you're just, kind of like, oh my God. A lot of times that does help you get into altered states, that rush, the adrenaline, the pumping of the blood and all of that. That is kind of good sometimes, but not to the point that you're like fearful, and you have to let go of this Hollywood conditioning of being afraid of the unknown, being afraid of magic, being afraid of spell
or possessions and all this shit.
So, you know, my suggestion for that is jump into it. Like, I have always been afraid of the dark since I was a kid because of issues with sleep paralysis and lucid dreaming and astral projection, because, you know, I've been astral projecting since I was a kid, like a little boy, okay? I have something that's naturally a part of me is astral projection, lucid dreaming, but when I was a kid, I didn't know what this was. So I thought I was being abducted by aliens, you know. It was just a mess. And I had a fear of the dark because of this, you know, and it wasn't until my late 20s that I had to finally just sit in a dark room, in a pitch black room, you know, and sit there with the unknown, sit there in the darkness of the universe and let whatever it is, like, take me, like, fuck it, like, I surrender. And you mentioned that earlier, that surrender. Like, I surrender to whatever the fuck is going to come out here and just take my ass. Come and give me your fucking worst, like, give it to me. So it's getting to the point where you just don't give a fuck anymore, and it's like, you know what, this is what I want to do, and I'm done with being afraid, you know.
Yes.
And
yes,
you have to do that. You have to take that step, and you know, that's a form of dying, you know. That's a form of death and a resurrection and a rebirth. You come out of there a different person, you know what I'm saying? That's actually a rite of passage. You know what I'm saying? You're crossing through the fire, you know, through the darkness, through the abyss, and coming out the other side, you know.
Within yourself. Yeah. Within yourself. Because those, like I was saying earlier, those blockades are definitely there. We've all been brought up. I mean, same thing with me growing up, having abilities, noticing things that other people didn't see, or I was being conditioned and told not to speak on that, not to say that, that's not normal or natural. So for a long time, we all have been conditioned to keep our right brain under lock and key, you know, not explore that realm, especially if you're part of the African community, you know, African American community. It's like that Christian base, that's an extra level that you have to unlock, because for a long time, even when I got really into my magic, I could have sworn that I was being plagued by the voice of God and angels telling me that, oh, you know, we see you and you're going to go to hell, like you're going to pay for all this. And it would sabotage my magic. It would sabotage my magic. I would not see results, or I would get little measly half-assed results. And it just got to the point that, yeah, you have to sit there and, like Taruk was saying, like, come through this motherfucker and snatch me then, okay? Because I'm going to fight, you know? I'm not going to continue to run from my power any longer. And it's that determination and that sort of conviction, okay? We spoke about conviction earlier in this show, that will allow you to see mountains bow to you, okay? Within the retrospect of, again, physics, you're not going to be able to do, I know there's a lot of, for new witches, you're not going to be able to fly or anything. We're not promising that much, but we are promising that when you put that aspect of yourself aside and just bomb rush face first into the womb of the universe herself and eat her out,
okay.
Eat her the fuck out, yeah, you're going to see, and results are, not only do they feel so good to witness, but it's like this inside joke that you can't, it's just funny, because it's like, you know, you'll see something manifest, or you'll see a sign, or you'll see the progress of your spell working by this person being gravitated towards you, or you getting, you know, them considering you for the position, or whatever sign that the universe is ordained to show you, to align you with you, that this is working and happening. It feels so fucking good. It feels like, it's like this little inside joke, you know, you just can't help but smile and laugh to yourself. And it can feel a lot of times alone, because you can't share it with anyone else. I can't say to anyone else, oh, the reason that we got that free, you know, whatever is because I went in it. No. And that's another thing. Oh my God. So let's touch on that. aspect too, okay? And we're going back to the Instagram witches topic show. Keep your workings silent, okay? You want to see your magic come through. You want to see successful spells. You want to see your power grow, your potential grow, your potency within the craft grow. Don't tell nobody shit. Don't tell nobody on Instagram. Don't tell your immediate circle of friends. Don't even tell your cousin. Don't tell them, don't, unless you made a contract with the spirit or entity that you're working with and you said, okay, for you doing this for me, I'm going to post a picture of you and talk about my experience with you. Other than that, don't tell people what spirit that you're working with. Don't show people your altars. Don't show people your artifacts that are imbued with your essence and your energy, your brews, your vials, your oils, your incense. Don't show people that. First of all, it's none of their business. It's none of their business. Secondly, stop seeking validation. You know, magic and power and potency is within. Okay? Yes, people, they may think of you as, oh, well, either you're not doing shit or you're not powerful or you're just play or you're a dabbler. That's fine. Okay? Like, run up. Run up. But at the end of the day, you know what you have experienced. And that is where the power and the potency lies. It lies in the archives of your spiritual experience. Okay. And that is your personal relationship with the divine, that no matter how much you want to talk about and share and have people say, oh my God, that's so ingenious, that's so inventive, and the way you did it, the way you set it up, the way you did the candles, the way you dressed it, that's so, yes, it's okay to get a little bit and share a little bit from the community as far as, you know, yes, there's a lot of things that I've seen on Instagram and I was like, oh, okay, that sounds really reasonable, that sounds really sound, and I've incorporated it into my ritual work. But my ritual work is very personal. Okay, and as many books as I've read and audio tapes and stuff like that, literally I'll get into a book for like a couple of chapters, and then I'm just like, okay, well, that's nice. Time for me to go back to doing it my own way. Because magic is it's as vast and intangible in its theory and practice as the universe. Okay, now there's a lot of sacred traditions. There's a lot of, things that have been passed down through the archives of time that has worked. Okay, there's traditional witchcraft. There is Voodoo. There is Santeria. There is the Celtic North magic. There's planetary celestial magic, astrology magic. I mean, those things are concrete. But don't limit yourself by saying, oh, well, if I'm a part of this, or if I'm following this way, or if I'm doing this aspect or working with this spirit or these, archives of spirits, that I can't tap into something else, or I'm only going to be ordained to follow this throughout my magical journey. No, break those limitations on all forms. Okay. And yeah, like Taruk was saying, dive head first into that motherfucker. Cause that's the only way you're going to learn. No matter, I could tell you reading books and again, the audio tapes and YouTube, it'll only take you so far, because you'll start to hear the same thing over and over and over again. And then all you'll be doing in your magic, we call them armchair magicians or wizards. If all your practice is about is wizarding, which means you're just reading, collecting theory, and then maybe for a spell, you go in and you set the theme the way the book said, you set your chalice this way, you call this spirit, you call this circle, that's nice. But I feel like if you really need to get into all of that, then all you're really doing is role-playing yourself, role-playing your psychology, role-playing your mental, to trick yourself into believing that all this is what's making you more powerful. All this is what's triggering the spell to actually work. And again, I go back to the thing. Sometimes all you need is a black candle, honey. Trust and believe. So that's my aspect on it. What do you think about that, Taruk?
I definitely agree with that. I definitely do, and I think that, you know, the more that you, cause like I said, you have to practice. You have to actually get down and dirty and do it, you know, and that's the only way that you're going to see results. I know reading books, yeah, you know, but it's just not magic. It's not going to do anything. You have to actually perform and do it. And a lot of times, you know, we procrastinate and we say we're going to do it and we don't, you know, days, weeks, months go by and you just lollygag and don't even, you know, remember like, oh shit, I want to cast a spell, but it's too late, so I guess I'm going to do it tomorrow. And, you know, just keep doing that for the next 3 weeks, you know. So you have to make yourself and push yourself because it's not easy to get into a magical lifestyle because this is a lifestyle. This is definitely a way of life, okay? There's a spell for everything, you know, and yeah, if you want something, then let's cast a spell, okay? No excuses, no ifs, ands, or buts. If you want it, cast, and it will come. You have to be in that lifestyle. So, you know, you're either in or you're not. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of these, you know, they're not in the lifestyle. You pretend that you are, but you're not. You know what I'm saying? This is a way of life. You have to get in and practice and do it. It's a snowball effect. The more you do it, the better you'll get. The more you do it, the more results you will see, and you will be building your confidence, like building a house. Building a house out of sand, you know. It may be hard at first, but the more you do it, the more you're going to learn, and eventually you build a huge-ass fucking castle, you know.
Hello.
So you...
And give yourself room for mistakes, you know. Give yourself room for error. Like,
and don't beat yourself up.
Don't. And not every spell you go in for is going to produce immediate results. We have come across spells and done spells that have not worked, that have flopped. Okay, it's all a part of the game. Sometimes the universe or your spirit family or your ancestors, they have something differently ordained for you, and yeah, they will come through and mess that motherfucker up. So being a part of magic too is learning when to surrender, when to let something go, when to like, okay, well, you know, I've been trying at this, I've been doing at this, and I haven't seen results. Let me move on. It's a give and take. It's definitely a give and take as well. So, yeah, I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have to practice. You have to perfect it, you know, and it's working. It's doing it. It's work, okay? It's not just one little thing and that's it. You know, you have to put in work, okay? So is there anything else you wanted to say, Luna?
Well, I wanted to give out some little tips on where to start. Because I know it's like, where do I start? Where do I begin? Well, what do I do? Okay. The easiest form of magic and the foundation of magic and every ritual spell, and I think that if you're listening to the show and you're interested, okay, I think I do want to get into magic. I do want to kind of practice. I do want to explore this aspect of myself. Candle magic. Okay, candle magic is the easiest magic. It is magic that it's like the building blocks, you know, it's like the ABCs, you know, this is A. And through A and learning the rest of the other letters, you can string together words. So candle magic, the first thing you want to do is learn color association. Why does red associate with passion, aggression, ego, drive, the blood, sex, lust, love, those sort of things? Why does white associate with clarity, cleansing, healing, purification, things like that? And I mean, it may sound like common sense, but believe me, it will do you some good to research color association. So when you go into your ritual work for whatever it is, you don't just pick out any old candle any old candle can work, because you can use green for confidence. You can use green for health and cleansing of the blood, and you can even use green for love if you want it to be that sort of love that is built upon the foundation of I don't want to say finances, but like the good home life, you know, a healthy home life. But certain color associations resonate at a higher frequency with certain, you know, personifications and aspects and attributes. So get into candle magic, number one. The next thing you're going to want to get into is learning to ground yourself, meditation, you know, clearing out those thoughts, you know, disciplining those thought forms and being in control of yourself. That's the hardest part, being in control of yourself, because again, when you walk into that room, there cannot be a distraction. There can't be you dwelling on, well, if this is right, if this is wrong, you know, is this going to work? How long is this going to take? So you are going to have to come face to face with yourself at some point. Okay, and it's better to get out of the way sooner than later. And that's dealing with the doubt, the fear, and the self-sabotage. So grounding and meditation, also learning to feel, okay, because magic, a lot of times we think too much about the magic. We're in there thinking, well, should I do this? And what should I do next? And did I do this right? And, well, should I put the chalice over here? No. Feeling. Magic is feeling. Magic is very emotional. So also what comes through with learning to feel is to feel yourself, to feel your own polarity, to feel your own magnetism and energy. And that's going to help you when it comes to enchanting, consecrating, you know, putting your will into a sigil, putting your will into a candle, putting your will into a object or talisman or stone. You're going to have to learn to channel that energy within yourself and imbue it into other objects. So channeling, and I think I called it something else in the beginning. And last but not least, what do you think the last thing, you said we were going to offer tips, so what would be the last thing you would offer as a rite of passage into getting started with magic?
Well, I would say learn how to get into altered states. That's the most important thing.
Yes.
You know, that is really the base. It doesn't matter at the end of it, like you want to get to the point where all you need is that altered state. Like that's all you need to do is to get into that, and that's that magical realm where you throw what you want into the world, into the universe, and it manifests into this third dimensional world. You know, you have to become familiar with that place, with that alternate state that you're able to. I mean, I can get into that altered state in like 20 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Even less than
all right, Grand Sorcerer. All right, Grand Sorcerer.
So,
let's see.
And it takes, you know, it's practice. You have to recognize it and know it, you know. So that's my suggestion: is meditate, get into those altered states, learn how to get into it, and have trust and confidence in yourself and in your magic. That's the only way that you're going to be successful, is knowing that you have to know this spell's going to work before you even do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you plan it, when you say, well, I want to do a money spell, you have to already in your mind say it's going to work. That's it, you know, and that's going to come with practice and results happening. You know, then you're going to build your confidence, and you know, but you have to do it. You have to do it. Like reading about it is not enough. You have to actually do the work. You have to put yourself out there and do it. So definitely, yeah.
Okay. Well, I think we touched on multiple bases with the show.
Yes.
Let us know down in the comment section below. What do you think about this? Have you yourself, if you are or have been practicing magic for quite some time, do you know these pointers, these things, these topics that we pointed out to be true? Do you follow something else? What has helped you develop in your magical prowess? And if you are a beginner, what do you think about these techniques? Is this something that you feel that you'll adopt? Is this something that you think will be beneficial to you? Or do you feel like, I don't know, you want to take another route or something? But that's pretty much, it. I do want to open up and say that, I'm back on Instagram. Taruk has always been on Instagram. So if you guys are looking for one-on-one personal readings, if you feel yourself having some blockages, you want to know what the divine or the universe has planned for you this year because you are walking into your magic. You know, you do feel like you want to explore this aspect of yourself and you want some clarity on it. Tarot is definitely the key for that, honey. So we are available for readings. Definitely check out our Instagram pages at Luna Tarot and also at Taruk Bashal. And yeah, I guess we'll see you guys in the next one.
All right. Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.